Again, I forgot to do this earlier. It's Saturday night. What time is it? 9:45. So I'm really late with the videos. Not too sure if you're missing it, but I have to do it anyway. So I know we did quite a few of these in class, but I'm gonna do them again. Okay, so just in case you want them. Alright, so if you do your story, you'll find out that's plus 20 on both sides. And we get 3m equals negative 2, sorry, positive 2. Divide by 3, divide by 3, and we get m equals 2/3, right? So we got check, so we're going to put 3 times, and instead of the m, we're going to put 2/3 minus 20 equals negative 18. So let me just go ahead and do this on the right side because there's nothing to do. On the left side, use your calculator. Well, 3 times 2/3, right? That's eventually going to simplify to 1, and 1 times 2 is 2, so we're going to get 2 minus 20, and 2 minus 20 is negative 18. Okay. Here, if you make a story, what is happening? So here's my variable, it's a, and it's being multiplied by 3/5. So the inverse operation is divide by 3/5. So when we say we're going to divide both sides by 3/5, what exactly does that mean? So remember, when we're dividing by a fraction, we already know that that's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So we're going to multiply both sides by 5/3. And on this side, you know, that simplifies to 1 times a is a. And here we get 30 times 5/3, which is 50. Okay, so now we get to check. And when we check, we're going to replace that a. So let me check on this side. So 3/5 times 50 equals 30. That and that goes away. Not going to simplify. You can put in your calculator, right? 3/5 times 50, or you can do, we can simplify 50 and 5, and that becomes 10, and 3 times 10 is 30, which equals 30. So either way, it's the same thing. So 8p plus 96 equals 104 minus 96 on both sides, right? And 8p equals 8. And divide, my pen keeps doing that. Divide both sides by 8, and we know p equals 1. So substitute 8, 1 plus 12 equals 104. 1 plus 12 is 13, right? Here we go, my pen again. 13. And we're going to multiply that by 8. And you'll notice that it does equal 104. So we're good. Cold day today. Okay, sorry. Okay, again, my variable c, it's being divided by -4. And then added 12. So the inverse operations I'm going to use is minus 12. Then divide by -4. Right. So let's do minus 12 minus 12. And what do we get here? 50, negative 50. Negative 38 and negative 12 is negative 50. These goes away. C divided by -4. And the second step we're going to do is, sorry, this was, wow, talk about. So here in the second part I made a huge mistake. It's being divided by -4, right? So the opposite, it's times -4. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Times -4 times -4 on both sides. That simplifies to 1. 1 times c is c. And negative 50 times -4 is positive 200. We can substitute now to check if our equation is correct. So we get 200 over -4 plus 12 equals -38. 200 divided by -4 is -50. Plus 12 equals -38. And they are the same. And the next one is just a translation. right? So again, easiest way for me, or for that I think, to translate is when you do it part by part of the sentence right under it. And if you have to make any adjustments, you make it at the end. So here's an example of that. So 8 is 8. Less than means subtraction. Twice means 2 times. And we're going to multiply 2 times a number, which we don't know, so we're going to call it n. And is equals, and then 17 is 17. So 8 minus 2n equals 17. But less than, ladies and gentlemen, let's turn around. So exactly what we're going to do, we're going to switch to 2n and the 8. And that's what our final answer ends up being. 3 times is 3 times the sum. Sum is addition. So who am I adding? A number, here's n, and 7, there's a 7, is negative 5. So now just be careful here, because it says 3 times the sum. So we got to add something and then multiply by 3, because if we leave it like this, that's 3 times n. So to make sure that we add first, we put a parenthesis. So anytime you see the word sum and difference, that's a good indication of putting parentheses. Okay. Next one we have the quotient, which is division. Quotient of a number and negative 3, so put negative 3 at the bottom, plus 5 is equal to 12. You must be older than 18 to enter the club. So remember I told you guys, right? So I guess the easiest setup for us is to pick the variable and the number that we're referring to. So older, club, so we're going to use C for club. And we're going to put 18 on the right side. So number on the right, variable on the left. I think it's easier if we do it that way. So what do we have to be in comparison to 18? In comparison to 18, you have to be older. So greater than 18. If you're 18, can you go in? No. You have to spend at least $10 to get a bonus gift. So let's use G and 10. So to get that gift, I have to spend something that at least 10, which means if I spend 10, I get it. And if I also spend above 10, I also get the gift. The maximum number of students allows 33. So look at my classroom. Let's use Flee for classroom. 33. How many kids can I have in my classroom? The maximum is 33. Can I have 33? Yes. And I can also have any number under that. 34, I can't, so we can't have anything higher than 33. You need a minimum of 65 to pass. So P for passing is 65. So if you want to go next year in the following grade, if you get a 65, are you good? Yeah, you are. And if you get something higher than 65, you're also good. But I think we did all that in class. So you didn't all these just. Now we have inequality equations. So I'm okay with your. You guys are okay in equations. I mean, we've done quite a few of those. Now inequality, it's very similar. So the only thing that I'm concerned of is that we have to remember that when we're multiplying or dividing by a negative number, right, we have to adjust inequality, and the adjustment that we make is that we are going to switch the inequality. If it's greater, we put it to less. If it's greater than or equal to, we switch it to less than or equal to. Okay, so that has to be the adjustment that we have to make. All right, so solve. Minus 3 minus 3. That goes away, and a is greater than negative 5. Let's graph it. Negative 5, negative 4, negative 6. Here's my, we don't shade, and we want numbers greater than negative 5. Where are those numbers? No, they're on this side, right? So you can always pick a number, and like 1,000 is 1,000. Is 1,000. Substitute here. Is 1,000 greater than negative 5? Yes, it is. Where's 1,000? To the left of negative 5 or to the right? To the right. So we point to the right. Now, here's also what you have to do is check. Well, let's check. Let's pick a value for a. We can pick negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0. We can pick any number to the right of negative 5. So let's pick 0. 0 is always the easiest. So we get negative 3 times 0 greater than 15. Oops, And Mr. Cho, remember, I forgot. Ugh. Please ignore this. I'm going to start all over again. -3, -3. So A is -5 over here, but we have to switch the sign because we are multiplying by a negative number. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. So let's create a number line. So we want numbers that are less than -5. We don't shade, and they are this way. Okay, so now we got to pick a value for 8. We got to check. So let's pick A equals -6. Let's substitute. So we get -3 times -6, and that has to be greater than 15. Let's see if that actually becomes true. -3 and -6 is negative times a negative, which is positive 18. And 18 is definitely greater than 15, so we are good. Oh my god, I don't believe I forgot. And I just mentioned it too. Here we did -10 on both sides. M over -5, that goes away, less or equal to 10. Next thing we do is M is being divided by -5, so the opposite of that is multiplied by -5. So again, when divide or multiply by a negative number, what do? That goes the other way. So that becomes 10 times -5 is -50. And this becomes just M. So make sure you graph it. Careful when you graph negative numbers, okay? Alright, so we're going to put a little circle on top of -50. We can shade. And where are the numbers that are greater than -50? Are they on the left side or on the right side? They have to be on the right side, right? Where's 1,000, for example? 1,000 is here. Is 1,000 greater than, so if I put 1,000 here, is 1,000 greater than -50? Yes, it is. So we point to that direction. So again, we're going to have to check. So then again, ask yourself if we can select 0. We can't select 0 because 0 is somewhere over here on the number line. And it's part of the solution. So we're going to do 0 divided by -5 plus 10 is less or equal to 20. Well, 0 divided by -5 is just 0. That goes away. And is 10 less than 20? Yes, it is. So we are good. Next problem. Ooh, I guess all these problems are just, notice that all these problems, not all of them. Well, they really, I guess, I put those problems up so that you can make sure that you practice. Make sure you practice the, what do you call that, when you divide or multiply by a negative number, you switch the equality to the other side. So here, well, this one is not the case. So we're going to do -10, -20 less than 4p. My variable is p is being multiplied by 4, so I'm going to divide by 4 and divide by 4. So we're going to get -5 less than p. Graph. So -5, -4, -6. Shade? No. And again, with this one, let's substitute 1,000. Let's pick a number, 1,000. Is -5 less than 1,000? Is that true or false? It is true. If it's true, where is 1,000? Is that 1,000 on the left side or on the right side? 1,000 is over here. We're going to point it to the same direction and go that way. Okay. Yeah, and that's where the graph is going to point. Okay. And then we're going to check. And again, for our check, don't forget, can we pick 0? Yeah, because 0 is about here. Right? -3, -2, -1, 0. Is 0 part of the solution? Yes, it is. So we can get -6 less than 4 times 0 plus 10. -6 is less. 4 times 0 is 0, so that goes away, right? And put a 10 over here. Is -6 less than 10? Yes. That's good. -12. -12. Right, guys? So greater, and then 21 minus 12 is 9, and this is -9a. My variable is a is being multiplied by -9, so I'm going to divide by -9, divide by -9. And a, and 9 divided by -9 is -1, but notice that we have to switch sides with a sign. So, graph, -1, -2, 0, I'm going to put a circle on top of here, on top of -1. And we want numbers that are less than -1. All the numbers are this way. Can we use 0 this time? No, we can't. So we got to pick another number. So let's say a equals -2. Substitute. -9 and -2 is 18 plus 12 greater than 21. 18 plus 12 is 30. Is that greater than 21? Yes, it is. So we're gonna solve. Oops. Where are we? Here. So again, the most important part here, like I said, I'm okay with you guys in the equations. I want you guys to solve it. Set up the equation. So Sam rents a car for 1 day. The charge is $28. This question is completely wrong. So I'm going to skip this one. Okay. Gary went to the hobby shop and bought 5 kites for $9.95 each, and a few balloons that cost and a few balloons that cost 75 cents each. If he spent a total of $55.75, how many balloons did he buy? So he bought 5 kites for $9.95. So we know the price of the kites. So let's go 5 times 9.95. But for the kites, he spent $49.75. All right, kites over here. And then he bought balloons. How much is each balloon? 75 cents. So 0.75 times B. We don't know how many. And all that equals 55.75. So to solve, minus 9.75 minus 49.75. We're going to get 0.75b equals 55.75 minus what? 49.75 equals 6, which we're going to divide now by 0.75, right? We're going to divide both sides by 75 cents. And how many balloons did we buy? We bought 8 balloons. Okay. If I remember, I will switch the problem on your assignment. Oh, so bad. Natalie won 91 super bouncy balls playing basketball. At school, she gave 3 to every student in her class. She has only 1 remaining. How many students are in her class? So every student got 3. Plus the 1 equals 91, right? So 3 balloons to every student, right? 3 times S, plus 1 that's the leftover has to equal her total. So let's do this, minus 1, minus 1. 3S equals 90, divide both sides by 3. The number of students in her class is 30. For a field trip, 5 students rode in the car, so 5 kids were in the car, and the rest filled 10 buses. How many students were in each bus? Well, the school, if 215 students were on the trip, well, I know, so the total is 215. So what equals 215? Well, the 5 kids were on the bus, plus how many kids were on the buses? Well, I know there was 10 buses, times students, right? There were students in each of the bus, so that equals to 215. Minus 5, we get 10s equals 210. Divide by 10, and s equals 21. So how many students per bus? 21 students per bus. Okay, Adam rents bikes for $19 plus $8 per hour. Nicholas paid $67 to rent a bike. How many hours did she rent a bike? Wow, these are so $19 plus $8 per hour equals 67. Minus 19, 8h equals, what's 67 minus 19? 48. Divide both sides by 8. H equals 6. So she rented a bike for 6 hours. Talking about 3 yellow balloons and 4 balloons. And 4 blue balloons for $3.50. All the balloons were the same price. What was the price of one balloon? 3 yellow balloons and 4 balloons. So 7B, right? 7 balloons in total for $3.50. Well, divide that by 7, divide this by 7. So each balloon was 50 cents. All right, so this one are inequalities. Okay, so you guys, Ben rents a car. It's $20 per day plus 12 cents per mile. He needs to drive a car. He needs to drive the car for 200 miles. What's the maximum he can spend? The maximum he can spend is $70. How many days can he rent a car for? What? Oh, I see. So the maximum he can spend is $70. So let's start with that. So can it be greater than 70? No, it has to be less or equal to 70. Now, he wants to drive the car for 200 miles. You know that. And you know that each mile is 12 cents. So we can already calculate how much that's going to cost. So if you multiply 200 times 0.12, times 0.12, so just for the miles, it's going to be $24. Okay, because 200 times 12 cents is $24. Plus, how much is it? $20 per day. So $20 per day plus 24, 200, plus a 24 for the 200 miles has to be less or equal to 70. So how many days can you rent a car for? Now I can figure it out. So minus 24, we get 20D equals 46, not equals, less or equal to 46. Divide by 20, and D is less or equal to 46 divided by 20 equals 2.3. So he can rent, I mean, if it's full days, right? 24 hours, and the car company says you have to rent it by days, then the maximum number of days is 2. But if they allow you partial days, like you can do 2.5, 2.3 or something, then maybe the answer could be 2.3. I don't like this question. Daniel had $15 to spend at the fair. The admission to get in is $2.50, and each ride costs $1.75. What is the greatest number of rides that he can go on? Okay, so he has $15 to spend. So 15, and he can't go over 15, so less or equal to 15. To get in, he's going to pay $2.50 just to get in, plus $1.75 for each of the rides. Let's give it R. And that's your inequality. Minus 2.5, minus 2.5. We're going to get 1.7 R less or equal to 12.5 divided by 1.75 divided by 175 divided by 1.75, and the number of rides he can go is 7.14, right? So now notice something, guys. 7.14. You can't go on 7.14 rides. So either go on 6 rides, or 5 rides, or 4 rides, or 9 rides, or 8 rides. That's a whole number. So the greatest number of rides he can go is going to be 7. So don't forget to graph this. Okay. So although it says 7.14, right, we're going to shade that and point it this way. So the greatest number of complete rides it can go on is 7. Okay. The 7th grade is raising money. It's $700 to rent a banquet hall, and then $50 per ticket. How many tickets do they need to sell in order to raise at least $1,000? So Actually, this question here, to raise at least $1,000 is this, right? So they have to, right, number of tickets. If you add all the money, they collect to sell the tickets has to be greater than $1,000. So the 700 doesn't come into play here. It's not gonna come into play because listen, here's each ticket, $15 per ticket, right? So in order to sell and to get $1,000, let's see how many tickets they have to sell. So we're gonna divide this by 15, divide this by 15. So the number of tickets that they need to sell to equal or greater than 1,000 is 66.666. So again, you can't sell 66.66 tickets. You need to sell 67 tickets. So if they sell 67 tickets, let's multiply that by 15. 67 times 15 tickets. Sorry, 67 times $15 equals $1,005. Right, that's how much they collected. And from $1,005, what are they going to pay? They're going to pay $700 for the banquet hall, for the place to rent it, and the rest, I guess, is going to be profit, right? They're going to make $305. Okay, so I know that the instinct, or you might have done this, right? That says 15 times a certain amount of tickets plus 700 is $1,000. That's, you can't say plus 700 because that 700 is not something that they made, right? It's not something for them. It's not whatever tickets I sold plus $700 that I made. No, this is actually 700 is something that you have to pay at the end of the night, right? It's just, I don't know, it's just there, I guess, to trick you. Okay, so your inequality here should be just this. Okay. Now, if somebody said, hey, your dad gives you $700 and you have that in your pocket, and then you have to sell tickets to get to $1,000, then you can say, all right, I have $700 in my pocket already, plus to reach 1,000, I have to sell some tickets. How many tickets do I need to sell? Then that would be your inequality, right? Because do you need to sell many tickets? No, you only need to sell enough tickets because you already have $700. So 700 to reach 1,000, you need $300. So you need to sell tickets to make $300 in actuality. Okay, so that's a different problem. But this 700, it's not something that you have. It's something that you owe, that you're gonna pay at the end of the night. Okay. Okay, so Timmy has 600 in the savings account. She wants to have at least 250 by the end of the summer. She withdraws $35 each week. How long can she do this for so that she can still have $350 left in the account? So whatever she does has to end up with at least greater than 250 or equal to 50. So she starts with 600. And what's happening to her 600? Every week there's a minus. We're taking $35 per week. Every week. How long can we do that for? Well, we're going to do minus 600, minus 600. Then we get 35W greater or equal to negative 350. Then we're going to divide this by negative 35 and divide this by negative 35. So remember what that does, right? We divide by negative number. We have to switch the inequality sign. And that's what we get. So the greatest number of weeks that she can do this for is 10 weeks. Okay, so if she does this for up to 10 weeks, her bank account will still have $250 if she does it she does it more than 10 weeks, then she's going to have less than $250 left in her account, left in her bank account. Okay? And that's that.